All right, y'all ready for this?
Let's do it.
That's a song. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a song, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna get
Recorded it for
copyrighted.
Yeah, right.
You're now watching Haunt Talk with your host Scott from Exploring Attractions and Rob from the Howling Hour, home for all things scary and spooky related.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Haunt Talk. My name is Scott,
And I am Rob.
and today we are joined by Audrey Lulu from Carnival. Welcome to the show.
Woo!
Hi.
So excited to have you on. It's lots to talk about. It was your rookie year for Carnival.
Yeah.
And I mean, I would say rookie of the year for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. Yep.
Because
Yep.
you really came out of nowhere. But before that, we'll do all our boring stuff. Make sure you subscribe to the Haunt Talk YouTube channel and you follow all of our social medias and follow Audrey's social media down below in the description as well. But let's get into the juicy stuff, Audrey. Me and you have met each other before Not Scary Farm.
Yes.
Rob, you just met Audrey this year. So kind of take us through your time, I guess, in entertainment up until Scary Farm this year.
Oh, yeah. So entertainment, I started up to Scary Farm too.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Okay,
up to
cool.
Scary Farm. So from the very beginning, SeaWorld days to
Yeah.
now.
So I started at SeaWorld, and I was there for about 2 years fully. And I started in 2022 that summer. So in summer 2022, I was working in entertainment at SeaWorld, and I had some buddies of mine say like, "Hey, Audrey, you should audition to be a scare actor for Hella Scream." And I was like, "Ha ha ha, that's so funny." Because I have never done scare acting before, and I was very much like, when it comes to Halloween and haunts, like I was like, absolutely not. I do not want to get chased. I don't want to get scared. Like the thought of getting scared was horrifying to me, and I was like, I
Yeah.
can't do it. But however, the year before 2021, I did go to Scream Zone, or Fright Fest. Yeah, Fright Fest. Sorry, not Scream Zone. Fright Fest at Six Flags for the very first time, and I had a good time, and I was a very great target because I was very scared. So,
The best targets.
right? So it was my first haunt, and I've never been, and so I didn't go to like any haunts like through high school, middle school, like all that, because I just was like, And so my buddies at SeaWorld were like, "Hey, you should audition," and I was like, "Okay, first of all, I don't know how to scare act, and I don't think I'm scary. Like, how do I be scary? What? Like, I don't know." I don't know. And so, but the one thing that I took away, I was like, you know what? It's something new. Let's try it. Like, maybe you'll like it. So
Yeah.
I went to the audition, and I'm telling you now, it was probably the worst audition ever because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I didn't know what I was doing. So then for Halloween Scream, that was my very first haunt in 2022. And I was put in the La Llorona scare zone. And
Nice.
I was a drowned child spirit. So I was like a little ghost child with a teddy, with a like a little doll, like a doll, like a teddy bear doll, and like a nightgown, and I looked all like scary, spooky. But like I went in not even knowing what La Llorona was. I had to do my research, and I was like, oh, that's scary. Okay, so
They're like
I was
really
like,
going
all
to the
right.
lore. It's a little bit dark.
Yes, right. I know, for real. I was like, wow, they put me in like a really like dark like zone. Okay, but like I went out of that season, I just met some awesome people, and I loved my zone and everyone in it, and I had the best time, and I knew like, wow, I really like this. I want to do it again. So the next year, I was still working at SeaWorld the next year. However, I was living in San Diego, that's where I'm from, but I moved up to Anaheim to work at Disneyland. So I work at Disneyland, and I work for entertainment here now. So I'm still working there, and but I was still at SeaWorld the year after, so in 2023, and I joined Halloween Scream again because I was like, I gotta come back. I had so much fun the year before, and when I was there, I was a pirate for most of the season. I was in our pirate zone. I also played music in our zone and stuff. Our zone, the zone for pirates, is cool about Halloween Scream. It was its fourth year this last season, so it's
Right.
pretty new, right? And it's
Yeah.
really cool that every year they're changing things and they're growing like little by little. And it's really cool to see. Like La Llorona, sadly the zone is not there anymore, but they've like replaced it with new things, which is cool to
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
I'm like, that's neat. New ideas, cool stuff. But
Evolvement.
absolutely. So, and then I know the last weekend of Halloween Scream, I was a clown. So I closed out the season to be a clown. And it's funny, my very first year going to Not Scary Farm was in 2023. That was my very first year going to Not Scary Farm. And I went to that event and I walked out like, oh my gosh, that was amazing. I had the best night and I walked out going, I have got to be part of this. Like, I don't care where I'm put. I just want to be part of Not Scary Farm because it was incredible.
Right.
And already living up in Anaheim, I was already like, yeah, I'm gonna audition. And because I missed auditions for Not Scary Farm last year, and I was like, now that I went to the event, I gotta do it.
Yeah.
So like I did obviously Haunt last year. I was in Hell Scream again, but then this year I was like, yeah, I want to audition, and then the rest is history. And so I got to work Scary Farm, and that's kind of my journey, I guess. Yeah.
It's a fun one. Everyone has everyone's been in it for like years, or some people have just been like you don't want to be in it, but then all of a sudden you're thrown in it. And you're like, wow, this is fun, you know?
And yeah, exactly. I feel like it took being part of the event and being the scare actor to scare people, and just doing that to now understand, oh my gosh, I get it. Getting scared is so much fun. Anyway, so, right?
Yes,
so,
it is. Yes,
for
it
real.
is.
I'm like, because I was like the total opposite, like a couple years ago. But no, for real. It took like doing it for me to have just an appreciation, be like, wow, this is so much fun. I didn't think I would like it, and I love it. It's so much fun, and you meet some awesome people, and what you get to do is pretty crazy. So
we interrupt your podcast viewing because we want to tell you guys that we do have an Instagram account. If you guys didn't know, we're posting lots of clips on there, Rob.
Yes, we are. If you want to find that account, it is simply Haunt Talk.
And we post movie reviews on there too. We post updates about movies, but the clips are really where if you don't have time to watch the full podcast, then you can check out the clips and see a little teaser of what you should be watching.
Or what I like to call a little sizzle.
A little sizzle reel, as you can say. And also on the Instagram account, we do also usually post the guest 2 days before, so you guys can kind of get excited for what guest we are going to be hosting on. So yeah, follow our Instagram and subscribe if you're new here to both my account, Exploring Attractions, and Rob's account, Howling Hour, and the Haunt Talk account where you can find all the full episodes. But with that being said, let's get back to the show. And here we are sitting on a podcast.
I just have to give you props because really not knowing, your past, and I would think you've been doing this for a long time. So you, you absolutely killed it this year. And also, we've never I met you this year, but I've gone to Hollow Scream and I remember the zones. I remember, all that stuff. So I feel like I've probably seen you doing your thing out there. So this is cool to hear how you not only have you kind of just had an open mind about kind of jumping into this, but you've jumped in and you're so amazing at it. So I just have to give you your props on that.
Thank you. Oh my gosh.
I think you absolutely killed it this year.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that and everybody talks about it. Rob and I, what's so awesome is I really hold a special place in my heart for San Diego people, especially who are in the local haunt world. That's why I think you're super cool, and there's a lot of San Diego friends that have ventured out into Scary Farm and Horror Nights and all that stuff. So it's we're such, and you can speak to this because you still have friends in San Diego, but it's such a small group of theme park entertainment nerds in San Diego.
Yes,
Yes.
And it's crazy that little cute theme park bubble. It's just Southern California. You'd be surprised. There's so many little crazy connections that I've made working at Not Scary Farm and Disney, and I know people that still work at SeaWorld and Hella Scream there, and people just know each other. It's just so cool.
and the big thing about it too is it's a theme park bubble, but then inside of it you have entertainment. That's why Rob and I have such an appreciation for characters and stuff, because it's entertainment at the end of the day. Yeah, the theme parks are there, the rides and everything, but what really brings everything to life are the people. And I'm talking about from the people working the food stands to the people creating the immersive experiences.
Everybody. Everybody.
in the like zones and everything. Like it's
Yeah.
a whole big thing.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted to ask you, going into your rookie year, like since you prepared for, or you really didn't prepare for the Howl of Scream audition, what did you do to prepare for something as big as Scary Farm?
Oh my gosh. I know Scary Farm is huge.
Yeah, yeah. And how did you manage to get a zone roll so quick?
Oh my gosh. To be honest with you, I don't know. The thing is, I went into the audition completely open-minded. I mentioned this. I was like, I do not care where I'm put. I went to Scary Farm loving the mazes and loving the zones, loving everything. And I was like, I want to be part of anything,
Hmm.
anything. Like I love the mazes. Like props to all the
Right.
maze monsters are all incredible. Like I
Yes. Yes.
absolutely, they're what makes the maze like amazing. All
Hmm.
of them. And so I was like, these mazes are just mwah, so amazing. And I was like, I just went to the audition, very nervous, very nervous because it was just a new place, and I was so used to like Halloween Scream because I did it for 2 years, right? So I was like, okay, this is a new place. Let's just go for it. Just show them what you got. Sure, just go. And of
Hmm.
course, the audition was like different. Every haunt and every place has a different form of like auditions, right? So I went in like not really knowing like what they were looking for or anything. So I mean, I went in there and they wanted you to like, act like a monster and stuff like that a couple times. And so
Hmm.
and when I got my role, they did see a couple extra things. They wanted to see me act like a nerd, and I was like, okay, I don't know what this means. Like I was like, huh? Like I really, yeah. They were like, we're going to see more clown things. Can you act like a nerd? And I was like,
Yeah.
a nerd? What? Okay. So I did it a few times, and then they offered me the role, and I walked away. I walked away very excited and shocked, and I also walked away so nervous. I was
You're like, how
so
am I gonna do this?
so nervous. Yes, I was like, okay. And because I went to Scary from the year before and it was my,
Hmm.
first time going, I didn't get the chance to do what a lot of people do and sit in the zones and really like get to know the zone and the characters. I really didn't do that. I was very much,
Yeah.
let's do as much as we can and see everything.
Right.
Um, so I did walk through Carnival my first year, but I can't like tell you specific things I remember. But I
Hmm.
just remember I knew about Carnival being just this zone, as well as Ghost Town being two zones that have been at Not Scary Farm for a very long time. And so they have like people know about it. And I was like, okay, Carnival's a clown zone with all the crazy clowns. Cool. And so I walked through and I thought it was great. And but of course, this year I was going into a year where they changed things up, right? They
Right.
changed
Right.
things. People have personas now, and they're changing the look and things. And I'm like, okay, I'm a nerd. How am I going to make this make sense and make it work? And
Yeah.
I think I think that's what was going through all of our heads in my zone. Like all of our heads at the beginning were like, okay, how are
Yeah.
we going to do this? Like how, and I remember when we were all meeting each other, we would say, I'm this clown, I'm this clown. And I think we were all like, this is so random, huh?
You're like, who's
What?
the scary
Who's
one
this,
then?
who's this one? Okay. So going into it, of course, I was like, all right, I have nerd clown, and now it's my job to like make it happen and
Yeah.
make the
Yeah.
character and figure out how to sell this
I mean, you kind
to
of
make
went in
this
at a
make
perfect
sense.
time then because they were looking for specific roles. So it's like
It was
anyone who
really
fit that role,
cool.
they're like, all right, perfect. You
It
know?
was really cool. I loved how all the roles, it was so amazing to see how all the monsters in my zone like grew in their character through the zone. And I
Hmm.
worked with like everyone, all the clowns are incredible. Like I could like gush and talk about like every single clown in my zone and tell you why like they were amazing and they're just incredible. And I learned so much from every single person that I worked with too. And
Hmm.
it was so cool to see. Like the first week, we were all figuring it out, honestly. Of course, like
Right.
we're all figuring it out. All right, we're all our roles and personas. How are we going to make this work? And it just
Yeah.
like, it worked. We just like figured it out. And it was just, and all in all, we were all, even though we all had personas, we're all clowns. So we got to just like have fun. And it was a
Right.
blast. So it was really cool, though, to be part of something to be part of like a change in the zone. And it was a surprise at the
Right.
beginning because I didn't even know. I didn't even know until I was told, like, oh yeah, Carnival's going through like it's like a different thing this year. And I was like,
Mhm.
oh, what? Okay. I'm hopping right in. Um, but it was truly a really awesome experience and an honor to be part of it. So
Well, I think I've at least I mean I've been going to Scary Farm for probably about a decade now,
that's awesome.
and
You probably seen it
and
through like the years,
oh yeah, I mean,
right?
and yeah, the same thing with Scott. We've been going for so long, and it was Carnival legendary zone, and I think just this year with the changes they made, I think they did a phenomenal job, and it just kind of like it wasn't just scary clowns. It was
Hmm.
you had like the nerd, you had the photographer, and like the
Yeah.
daredevil,
Yeah.
and so you had all these different characters, but. When you okay you're handed the nerd, like this is what you're gonna be, how much I guess of your creativity did you get to put into that, or was it a collab with
Oh.
maybe some of the creatives behind the scene? How did that go?
Yeah. Well, I mentioned I was given nerd and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? No joke. I was so excited for Scary Environment to be part of it. I was thinking about my character in the zone like all summer, all summer. I'm telling you, all summer.
Mhm.
And it took a long time to figure out what I was gonna do. Because
Okay.
I mean, when it comes to like costume stuff, most of my costume belonged to Knott's. I didn't really make my own costume.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
I was going off of like, okay, I know my role. I don't know what I'm gonna look like yet until my fitting. So I got to see it and I was like, okay, this looks great. I like it. But now let's come up with like props and stuff because props are very much kind of the monster's responsibility to make for themselves at
Yeah.
Knott's. And
Okay.
so I was like, all right, I gotta get some props and make this work. It took forever to come up with a name too. Funny enough, I didn't know what I should be called either. I was like, I need a name that's like silly and like I don't know, shouts awkward. Shouts awkward and is
Yeah.
something that people could maybe remember. And
Right. Right.
um so like throughout the whole summer, I was like, okay, ooh, a giant pencil. Yes, a giant pencil. I'll have a giant pencil. Let me find a red pencil. Okay, okay, well, let's do pigtails. Pigtails will be cute, right? Okay, right. So so and then like I was like, all right, maybe a gap or maybe a tooth gone. I pitched some ideas too to our wardrobe and our management when we all like got to kind of show them our character and I was like, oh, I have this tooth plaque. I can maybe like get rid of a tooth or give myself a gap. And they were like, we like the gap. I was like, all right, bet.
Mhm.
Okay. So you like that idea. And so like, I don't know, it just kind of all slowly pieced together. The last thing I came up with was a name. And I just like came up with Lulu because everyone kind of like the word delusional has just been called Delulu around, and I just
Yeah.
hear it in all
Yeah.
the words.
Yeah.
So Delulu, I was like, wait a minute, okay, let's get rid of the DE, Lulu. It could be short for Delulu, and delusional is a great thing that a clown can be, and that is exactly what she is. So
Yeah. Like
it
there, I
just
made it
like
work.
so
There
like
you
I
go.
made
There
it
you
work,
go.
but also see, I came up with all these ideas, but I didn't know if it was gonna like I didn't know how it was gonna like go. I walked into our first weekend really having to figure out my character. It's something that I've been told advice wise, especially my first year ever scare acting, was
Mhm.
don't go in with like an immediate like idea with how you're gonna act. Don't
Yeah.
do it. And
Okay.
so like you can have little ideas like but try things out. Like I remember my first year of Halloween Scream, I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to act scared. I'm going to cry. I'm going to run around with my baby doll, and that's going to be my character all season long. And
Mhm.
I became the complete opposite by the end of the season. I was scary, creepy little girl with a little baby doll who would yell at people because they wouldn't play with me. Like that
Yeah.
was like literally, I was like, after the first day too, I was exhausted. I was just thinking so much about every little thing that I was doing. So
Mhm.
the first week of Not Scary Farm, all the clowns we were figuring out our characters and I was figuring out my own. And I was like, we're just gonna autopilot this and whatever happens, happens and we'll stick with it. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but of course it was so much fun though to think about this character and how I would interact with other clowns and how I would walk and talk. And like, it's really cool when you mention creativity. One thing I love about Not Scary Farm is it really gives monsters a chance to be creative. Like, really,
Okay.
a lot of
Yeah.
people have so many incredible ideas. Like, I know a ton of the clowns in my zone really got to use their ideas. A lot of them, like, it was their original, like creative, like props ideas, you know. So one thing I love about Knots is that they really do let you be creative with any character or anything you're like given, right? So because they gave me the name and then I came up with the rest, right?
Yeah,
Basically.
Right.
yeah,
And but a lot of people, there's a lot of people that do have original characters, like ideas that get to be a character that they have thought about. It's so cool that
yeah.
Knots is like that. And in a way, Howl Scream is also like that. They're very open to creativity if you share it with
Okay.
them. And but Knots, it's such a huge haunt, and every year you see new things and what people like what people come with up with. It's like really, really cool. Anyway,
We talk
so
a lot of it a lot about it a lot in the sense of like Knott's is one of those haunts. It's just so much creative freedom there.
yeah,
And we were talking
Yeah.
to Kane
absolutely. It's
about it,
so
and
cool.
like
Yeah,
he got to design a
that's right.
lot of his
He
outfit,
did. He
which is
did.
awesome. And he was talking about like how he was fighting back and forth, but like it was a good fight
Mm,
because Knott's put that trust in him
right. They were
to
like,
have that character.
absolutely,
Same with
absolutely.
Gavin.
Yes.
So, but I want to
Yep.
know because, kind of shifting here, um, I've seen you in the zone, I've seen the videos and everything. Just like, what was your favorite moment of Carnival?
Oh
Because
my
you're a freaking
gosh.
maniac in there sometimes. And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't know how you have so much energy.
Well, I know. I just had so much fun every single night. Gosh,
That's
there are
awesome.
so many stories I could share and so many moments. I think my favorite moments were just the last couple hours of shenanigans with all the clowns. And it was really fun. I tried it was fun to interact with every clown. I would try to go interact with all of them because they're all incredible.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we would just come up with the dumbest things to do. Like the dumbest things. Like the last, and also it's funny, it's super funny. Toward the end of the season, I was getting like extra props. The last day I had a blow up shark and Kane and I had a sword fight with him. Like
Yeah.
what? Like what?
It's like the
But that
greatest thing ever.
it made no sense, but it
Yeah.
made sense at the same time.
Just chaos over there. Just chaos.
For real, absolutely. But it's gosh, I don't even think I could say one moment. It was like every single night ended in a way that was like, wow, that was a great night. That was so
Yeah.
silly. That was so silly of us.
Like, how's it gonna top? How's it gonna top
That
this? And then all of a sudden
like
it
I
tops
wonder,
it.
but then it made me excited. I wonder what's gonna happen tomorrow. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It was
yeah.
just that's the fun part. Just yeah. So I couldn't tell you one specific moment because there were just too many with so many clowns that happened and it was just awesome. It was so much fun and crazy. And we're
So
all like
since you were a
silly goofy.
maniac in the zone, then what was your favorite energy drink or coffee before you go out there?
You know what? You know what? Fun little secret. I don't drink caffeine.
It's all
Really?
natural.
Not
All
really.
natural.
I think I
That is
can tell
such a
you.
shock to
I
absolutely
A
nobody.
lot of people don't know that. And so I think all the clowns basically know because
Yeah, yeah.
I would like tell them and they're like, "What the heck, Audrey? You're just running. You run around all the
Like,
time.
what's
How are
wrong
you
with
so
you?
fast?" No, they're literally like and they're like, "You're like that till the end of the night." And I'm like, "Yeah. I just cut you out. You know, I'm just
Yeah.
yeah."
Well,
So
when you work
I
at Disney, I guess you have to have that energy nonstop, so it kind of comes
it's
natural.
that's true. That is
Yeah.
true. That is true. But obviously, haunt is like a whole nother like level. But it's
Yeah.
true. It's kind of like the same, but gotta gotta do it a different
You
way.
got to do an aggression with it
Scary.
now.
Scary way. Scary. But no, I think out of the whole season, I had maybe 5 to 6 energy drinks in total. And there's like so many days of haunt. And I would only have like an energy drink when I really needed it. I never
Mm,
finished one either, like fully.
yeah.
I would usually have one on the really, really busy days, like Fridays and Saturdays, because there's so many people, and I was just constantly moving, and that really like
Yeah.
makes you tired. So I would be exhausted in the middle of the night, and I would just have a little boost. All right, we're good. But all of like literally 5 to 6 the whole season. Most Fridays and Saturdays, so toward the end, I wasn't drinking any energy drinks. But yeah, I don't really drink caffeine. Not really. I used to in like
Wow.
college. Like I remember college, I used to have energy drinks and stuff in school. And like I just stopped like after college, and I was like, I don't
You're
I
like, I
I'll
don't
just
think I
I'll
need
just
this.
drink it. I'll just drink it when I really need it. If I'm
Yeah.
actually really tired, I'll
That's
have
how
like
like
a
I'm
small
trying to
one.
do now. Is like I'm trying to like just
So
drink a half and then be like, all right, let's test the waters. Like
yeah,
drink
right.
half and then see how we
Right,
go.
right.
And some days
And
I'm good.
yeah, yeah. But I feel like that's such a funny little thing that people don't know about me is
Yeah.
because they see me running and they just see the way I am and they think I had so many energy drinks. And I'm telling you, I did not have any straight up adrenaline, straight up adrenaline, complete adrenaline all night long.
Just taking
That's I
adrenaline
think
shots, not caffeine,
yeah.
is what it was.
Yeah, it's not caffeine, it's straight adrenaline.
Nope.
Leave me alone. I'm gonna go to my corner.
Um, something that's just well. First, let me just say that I think you're the first like scare actor I've ever heard that's like you don't like pound down like 3 monsters a night. So
No.
that's
Funny,
amazing.
it's
right
funny you
there.
see like the monster meme accounts and like right before you go on the set and you're
Yeah.
shotgunning a ghost.
Yes.
Um, something I want to ask. Just based with your character, and I've seen you scare, but I want to dig into your mind and hear it from you. How like you when you're deciding how you're gonna scare? Obviously, I feel like the way you scare is not your typical like upfront like I'm scaring you.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how you creatively would scare people. I've seen you do it. I think it's amazing. It's very creative. Talk to us about it.
Yeah. So first things first, our zone is full of like silly clowns and scary clowns. Like we got a
Right.
bit of both worlds, right? Like for example, Ragdoll. He's probably one of our scarier clowns.
Yeah.
And then my clown, not really. Not exactly. Like
Yeah.
like my clown is scary. However, it's not like you would look at me and be like, she's terrifying looking. You know what I mean?
Right,
They'd be like,
right.
she looks like a dork. Like that. She's a silly one. I was. But I think the way I would scare was not because of being like looking scary and like being this scary character, I would
Right.
more scare with the element of surprise. Like I would just I'd be very quiet and I would kind of like go right behind people and make some like I make noises, random noises, or I would just say hi. Like I would just yell hi because I have this I would just I played like scary positivity basically. And and of course it didn't help that I would like pop people's personal bubbles with my prop and I would pretend like I'm bonking people and stuff like that. So I mean like when it came to scaring, that was probably the biggest autopilot because I didn't know how it would go. And the thing is too, like
Okay.
as a clown, you don't even need to like if you don't scare someone, make them laugh instead. Like
Right, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what I and that's kind of what would happen. Sometimes I wouldn't get any scares. Like I wouldn't scare someone. And some clowns in my zone were able to scare like huge groups of people because that's just like how they scared people. And they were like a scarier clown. And I was like, that's so cool, and that's amazing. But I would kind of aim for like I would aim for groups and specific people, but if I never got a scare, I would just do something that would like make them laugh, and that would usually be making a random noise, and they would think it's the funniest thing ever. And so, and just make noises, and that's kind of what I would do. And also, I guess a way that I'd scare people, not even scare, but I I'm a yapper.
Certified yapper.
Yeah, certified yapper. My character, I loved going up to people and like just talking to them, but like in a way that would just be like goodness, this clown, this nerd, she's really weird. Anyway, she's she's crazy. I would just talk and run away, or just sneak up behind people. So I think like I feel like I never had that much of a flow. It was very sporadic and just kind of like on a whim. I would just try new things, and it helped with I feel like I could like if I were I liked going through crowds too. A lot of people
Hmm.
wouldn't see me until I just made a noise and then they would like jump. Because I would just
Yeah.
I'd be walking through groups. That's another thing. Like I would just be like, ooh, a giant group. Let me walk right through it.
The smaller
It's
actors
great.
have that to their
Go
advantage
whoop.
to where like
That is
they don't see
true.
you, you know, like
That
and you could
is
just like kind of
true.
weave your way through, and all of a
I
sudden,
I do like doing that. I know it comes with its challenges, but like I was like, let's go. And so but I feel like I never had like a specific scare tactic. Those are like a few things I know that I did do
Mhm.
and
Okay.
stuff, but it was very sporadic in the moment, whatever worked. And if I didn't scare them, I'd make them laugh. And but it's funny. I did watch your guys' podcast with Kane, and Kane is right. It was kind of like scary positivity in his own way.
Yeah,
It was like people would freak out whenever I'd say like even saying hi would freak people out. So
yeah. I mean, it
and
works, especially
it
when you have
works.
a
It
new
was
transition of Carnival, you know.
yes, it was fun to scare people that way, but
Mhm.
I loved my pencil prop was also very helpful when it came to
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
surprising people. And
the
they walk
pencil prop
away.
was
I
something.
remember, yes, and I remember hearing people go, "Is she holding a pencil?" You know, and it was
Like, yes, I am
quite
holding a
funny.
damn
It's like,
pencil.
yes, yes, this is
Well,
my
well,
fun.
I like how you would
It's
go
funny.
you would go up to people with your pencil and offer to
Yes.
give
Oh,
them a
yes, of
gift.
course. How could I forget? Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. Yes. No, I I did that from day one. Day one, that was like a let's try this. Um having a pencil as a prop, who knew that it would just like blossom into coming up with some of the dumbest things to do to
Mhm.
people. Speaking of popping bubbles, I would just yeah, I would erase people's memories by taking the eraser and literally getting so close to their
Oh
head
my
and saying
god.
like, "You're gonna forget this moment." Yep, you forgot. Bye. Anyway, you know, and then
Yeah.
I would take like the other end and like draw a sun and put it in your mind. Like I'd be like, let me give you a happy sun. There you go. You know, and I'd run away. It's
They're
so
like,
like
well, that
random.
was creepy.
So random. But they were just like, what? But I would make people like I would stop people in their tracks too. They'd be walking and I would just like I would get right in front of them and do
Mhm.
that. I would just be like, stop them in their tracks and be like, all right, let's do
And
it.
that and that's like scare acting 101 is like
It's
if you can get in that personal bubble without not like actually hitting them, then you're golden. You know what I
yeah.
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah, I would
because
just like tell them to hold still, and they would, and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
great, you're
Yeah,
in
I
for
guess
the
when
bit,
you look
great.
like a scary clown, you have a little bit more power. You know what I mean?
It's just really cool to see how like every clown in my zone again we had the scary we had clowns that were a little more on the scary side, but also
Mhm.
every clown in my zone has a silly side. All of them are
Right. Yeah.
silly,
Yeah.
but I think like every clown had their own way of scaring that kind of leaned more like on both sides. But all together, we're all clowns. We're all like we got both. We're silly and scary at the same
Well,
time. But it was
I
fun.
think that's why it works so well because one clown can hit you with a full on scare, and the other one's
Yeah.
gonna hit you with a different type of scare, like you, like where just
Yeah.
like you pop up and you're very energetic, and you surprise them with how much energy you have, and hey, how you doing? So I think
Feel like
you guys all like really played well off each other
Mm.
with your like you're saying the actual scare and like the positive scare.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's I
And
remember moments too that I there would be one of our clowns would just like get a whole group and then I would just end up being there and it'd be like a double scare. But another I just remembered another thing. My character I wouldn't like make like a noise to scare them. I would act scared myself. So as soon as they would turn around, I would like go, ah, "You scared me!" Like I then that would get them, and that was because my character I kind of played her like a like she's an awkward, jumpy thing, right? She's awkward and
yeah.
jumpy, and so I would scare people by being scared. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Does that make sense? I just
Yeah,
remember
I
that.
get
I would do
it.
like
that.
I remember seeing you do it, and it was hilarious.
And I would walk away going, "You scared me," and, you know, they're just just like, then they would just be like, what? anyway.
So you
So
talk
fun.
about like all the clowns and everything, but like you're a rookie this year, so who kind of took you under their wing
my
and was like a
gosh.
mentor?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I That's so funny you say that. I know as a rookie, I didn't know anyone in my zone
Mm,
going in, and I did not know what the season like had in store. Like I didn't know
right.
what to expect. I didn't know. I came in, I'm a baby. I don't know what's
Yeah.
going on. But you know what? So many veterans, like basically all of them
Uh-huh.
that have been doing clowns for a while, they were so sweet and welcoming and just all of them basically kind of took me under their wing and like
Hmm.
looked out for me and like I always had questions and they would always like be there to like, oh, this and that, and give me tips and
That's cool.
advice. Like I remember when we all met, like they were preparing me for the season way before like the season even started. We would just talk about, they would give me advice on how to scare in our zone because our zone's very well lit and
Hmm.
I'm not used to scaring in like a well lit zone. So they would like
Yeah.
give me advice, right? And we would just talk about that and um just so many of them were just great people and great like mentors and
Yeah.
That's cool.
I learned from everybody and even the other rookies in my zone, they're all amazing and
Mhm.
they all, some of them have worked scary farm before, but like I looked up to everyone I worked with and it was just so cool to learn from everyone and to just, a lot of them we were just a small, like we're just this clown family and everyone's there for each other and
You
they
had
like
a really good mix of people too.
For
yes,
sure.
so many clowns just welcomed me, in
Hmm.
such a way that was like, wow, I now like, because I went in like so nervous and I was like, I don't know anybody. All these people are like, some of them like most of them already knew each other and I was like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, and I couldn't wait to start like getting to know everyone and work with them, but they were just like so sweet and welcoming and I was like, oh, yep, this is my
Yeah.
clown family for
Now you're
the
like
whole
one
season.
of
They're
us.
fantastic. You're
One
right,
One
one
of
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 us.
us.
one
One of
of
So,
us.
us.
so
Exactly. So
I'm gonna
they were all amazing.
I'm gonna put you on the spot
Oh,
and
oh. Just kidding.
I'm gonna ask you, in your zone, did you have
Rob's
like a
good at making people feel awkward. So.
yeah. In your
Yeah.
zone, no, in your zone, did you have like a favorite like not
Mm,
like oh, this is my favorite person, but like someone's character like in that zone, like,
okay.
oh, this was just like for me, obviously, other than you, because you were the best. So like I really love like Gavin's character, like that,
Oh,
like the
awesome.
daredevil. I thought he
Yes.
was just like, I
Yes.
was like, oh man,
He's
that.
great.
So is there someone for you that you were just like, oh, this character was just like, I love this character?
Oh my gosh. I could gush and talk about all of the clowns right now. But I do have a few that stood out to me. And also I want to like shout out some people I ran with too this
Yeah,
season.
yeah, let's hear
Um,
it.
and so okay. Gosh, in no particular order, but the let me see. Trixie, our cheerleader clown.
Hmm.
She's so amazing. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I look
Yeah.
up to her like as like a performer too. Like she is incredible. And it was so cool. It was funny too because we both went in knowing, okay, she's a cheerleader. I'm the nerd. How are we gonna do this? But because we both just had so much fun working together, the cheerleader and the nerd are actually friends. Actually friends. We would have these funny interactions with people, but she is so incredible and her character is like I would find myself, no joke, I would still be in character interacting, but I would just see her um walking by and I would just watch her just kill it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's so great. She's
That's
so
Yeah.
awesome.
good." But truly amazing character would be Trixie or cheerleader clown. She was so cool and just like a wonderful person to work with. And so her Ragdoll, I do want to shout out Ragdoll. It's so fun. Ragdoll and I feel like we had so much fun this season just doing really stupid things. I mean,
Yeah.
I mentioned the shark thing. Well, here's the funny part. I mentioned like there being scarier clowns. Ragdoll's like character is kind of more on that end. He's tall, he's scary, he could slide, and
I
he can do
would
Yeah.
that
say, and
crazy spinning
we
thing with
told
his
him
body.
last podcast, like he is the scariest probably, just because of his
Yes.
height and the
Yeah,
fact that he
he's
looks like a
intimidating.
maniac.
He
Very
is.
Yeah.
Yes, he is.
intimidating.
Yes, he is. He is indeed.
It's
But
crazy.
it's just funny. Like I I really loved interacting with him, especially because he is that kind of character in our zone, and I'm the complete opposite. So the fact that I would go over and just like bother him quite a bit. And we just have so many like really dumb stories of just I remember him mentioning the whole cape thing that I did. Y'all talked about it. I did
Yeah,
see that. Yes.
yeah.
That night, oh my gosh, that night, I don't know, everyone was on like a whole nother level. It was so funny. That that's Carnival in a nutshell in that video.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even kidding. But truly, it was so much fun. But no, Kane's character, it's like his character, he put a lot of thought and like creativity into his character. And that's
Hmm.
something like I really respect and I think is so awesome. He like that just shows you like you can absolutely be creative and like really build your characters at Not Scary
Yeah.
Farm. Like it's so cool. And Kane's like Kane's character Ragdoll is like the best example of that, like for real.
Hmm.
And so shout out to him. A few people I ran with this season that were awesome to run with. Isel the art clown. Shout out to Isel. Isel the art clown. We ran a lot together at the beginning of the season, and
Hmm.
I loved interacting with them. It was really fun because we both, especially because we were running together a lot at the beginning of the season, we were both figuring out our characters like together in our own way, and our interactions were so silly. And like spontaneous. We would just go up to people and talk about the art. But the thing is, the whole thing is that the art in our zone, all those posters, they were definitely stolen. But don't tell anybody. Anyway, but shout out to Isel for being awesome and a great running partner. And it was just so much fun to come up with really silly improvised bits together. The art clown and the nerd who knew. Because like Isel has a chisel and then I have a pencil. So I would draw
It's the
on
best
the
of both
posters.
worlds.
Yeah, I would like draw on the posters and Isel would be like, "What are you doing?" And be like, "Nothing." Nothing. And then Bongo. Bongo is so much fun to run with too. We Bongo our baseball clown. It's freaking hilarious. Oh my gosh. Just like the amount of times I try not to break around him. I'm not even joking. Oh my gosh. But we had so much fun running together with because he had a baseball bat, I had a pencil. We would team up and scare people together. So we'd run up at people and we'd use his baseball bat for like we would do a piggyback thing. I'd hop on his back and like we would just he would just sprint down the zone. And that was usually like the last hour of the night.
Yeah.
Like straight up like, here we go, shenanigan hour, let's go. But it was so much fun running with him too. So those are just some amazing like shout outs and people that were just awesome this season.
That's
And
cool.
everyone was awesome. It was
Yeah.
so again, it was so fun. Um that not only did like obviously us and the zone get to experience everyone's character and how they built it, but everyone got to kind of like you guys came and you got to kind of see it from your
Hmm.
perspective. It was probably so different from my own, but like to see um everyone's character and everyone's creativity really shine through these characters that they
Yeah.
like really got to kind of create themselves to match the image that at least they were looking at Scary Farm.
It was amazing. You
But
know,
it
I
was
think that
so
like
cool.
it's such a big telling of what Not Scary Farm is capable of, not only with
Hmm.
their creative side, but with their monsters and the fact
Oh
that
Right.
yeah.
take
Yeah.
on
Oh
that
yeah.
challenge.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's so impressive and it's so much fun. Like I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many memories as a guest and so many memories as an actor that came
Hmm.
from this year's Carnival Zone
Yes.
that wouldn't have been there without like the new characters and everything,
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
you guys
sure.
were able to
Yeah.
play into it.
Yeah, and it's like this season was so memorable because of the people I got to work with. It was so
Hmm.
much, of course, the experience was so much fun, but if it weren't for all the clowns I got to work with, oh my gosh, this season was just because of them. It really made this like so memorable, you know. So
And I will
anyway,
say too, like as going from frequent years, like there's so many vets that were in that zone that were in different zones, and so
yes,
many rookies. Like
yes,
I mean,
Yeah.
Jen was amazing
yes.
as the freaking
It was
leader there. It
so
was it
it
was
was so
incredible.
much fun. Yes, it was so much fun. We had a lot of people that were in Goring. And
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
remember going into Goring my first year, the year before, and realizing that they were in that zone. I was like, "What? Oh my gosh." And that they all became clowns. It was so much fun working with them and getting talent from other zones, especially when they've been in those zones for like a while, you know? And
Yeah.
Jen was so much fun to work with and just like to witness her creativity She is
Yeah.
so freaking funny out there. Oh my gosh. It was fantastic. But yes, it's so cool. I learned a lot from our veterans in my zone, and it was really cool to learn from some of these just incredible talent and you know, get to work alongside them, truly.
That's cool. Just
Well, Rob,
I was
do
gonna
your
ask.
thing. I was
Okay.
gonna say, go do your thing. You wrap it up. You're the rapper, man.
All right, I'm the rapper. Well, I
Rapper,
mean,
hey.
okay. Well, I gotta ask. And I know you had mentioned, your realm into scaries relatively new. So
Yes, it is.
So I'm gonna ask
Funny
you this. Now that you're in the door, do you have do you have like a favorite scary icon or scary character, like throughout anything? Could be movies, shows, a park, an event, anything.
Scary icon. Ooh. Oh my gosh.
The crowd at Disneyland during December.
You know, that's not a bad one.
Yeah,
I'm going tonight, so I'll experience it.
That's
Are
not
you really?
far. That's not far off.
Oh my gosh. I know it's gonna be busy.
I
But
mean, that can be. I will
that's
take
fine.
that as an answer.
that is
'cause
really
yeah.
funny. But that's so funny. So I mean, oh gosh, scary icon. You know what? I feel like I haven't seen enough horror things to. Well, you know what? Okay, this may or may not be like a scary icon, but
Mhm.
so I love musical theater, and
Okay.
I'm a theater gal myself, and like I did shows and stuff, but one of my favorite musicals is Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
Obviously I've never seen like the classic Phantom movie. I want to because it's
Okay.
like a classic, right? So historically like huge, especially because like Universal Monsters, right? Um, but I remember loving the musical so much because it had this like it kind of like took what you would think of a musical and like totally switch it over to be
Yeah.
something that was like actually very like mysterious and
Yes.
like cool. And
Yeah.
I've always had this like fascination for that musical, the music, the story. So I probably would say Phantom of the Opera, but like
Okay.
Okay.
so I would
Yeah.
say that. But
We'll-
of course,
we'll
like
take that. We'll take that.
I'm so new in the. It's just kind of ironic that I don't really watch a lot of horror movies yet. To take me to a haunt, and I'll be like a little kid in a candy store, I'll be like, yeah, let's go, you know, I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah.
and
And that's fair enough. Not
Yeah.
a lot
Right.
of people are like. I always say like you have the haunt fans, you have the horror fans, and then you have people who
Right.
are just like both. Like there's
Right.
right.
That's
And
just how it is.
But I know I'm such a. I know I'm not the only one out there. I think that's new to horror, but I do.
I
love
mean,
haunts.
let's be real. Most characters are theater kids. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's very incredibly true. Very incredibly true. Yep. Yep. But
But,
anyway,
I
that
mean-
would be mine. But of course, I've been getting a lot of like recommendations. So I'm like, oh, you should watch this horror movie. You should watch this movie. You'd like this movie. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I was like, okay. So I have been like, I have seen a few horror movies in my like, I have seen horror movies,
Okay.
but not a
Dabbling.
lot. Not a lot.
I've dabbled in the horror realm.
dabbled in the horror realm, but I've really dabbled in the haunt realm. Yes.
there you go. Yeah.
Haunt realm. Yes.
Yeah.
But
Well, Audrey, we appreciate you coming on.
Yes,
it's
thank
been
you.
a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
I
Thank
think
you.
this
Oh my
is
gosh,
the most
thank
I've
you.
laughed in a podcast, so it's been good.
Yeah, for real. For real.
It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and we can't wait to see what you do next year
Yes.
and what you
Excited.
see, what you do next in the theme park.
Me
world.
too.
But
Me too.
I'm really excited. So, if you guys are new here, please make sure you subscribe to the Haunt Talk channel and follow Audrey down below, and follow mine and Rob's separate accounts as well. But my name is Scott,
And I am Rob.
and we've been talking with Audrey. We'll catch you guys in the next Haunt Talk episode. Peace out, everybody.